Today, we will talk about the role of storytelling in content marketing. These are some of the names that come to mind immediately when one thinks of brands that have made a mark. They were the ones to sway the minds of their target audience in their favor simply by telling a powerful story. Whole Foods appeals to our conscious selves because we're guilty of indulging in refined, preserved, and processed foods and are desperate to switch to a seemingly healthier alternative. Since it makes us feel good about what we feed our family, we don't mind paying a few extra bucks for it. Kiehl's, on the other hand, used exclusivity to win over their target audience, who didn't just want to settle for skincare everyone was using. These young consumers wanted to be a class apart, away from the ordinary, and hence didn't mind paying a premium for a brand that made them feel so. Similarly, Dyson's story was based on leveraging technology to revolutionize home improvement products, thus making them the preferred choice among younger buyers, something that set them apart from their competitors. What is storytelling in content marketing? Put simply, storytelling is the art and science of using a fictitious or non-fictitious narrative, character, and plot to convey a message that indirectly markets your product or category of products. Why storytelling is such an important pillar in content marketing is because it makes your content way more engaging and compelling as opposed to marketing communication that is based strictly on facts and figures. Humans are built to connect with a story, empathize with characters, and react to a narrative. Therefore, the clever technique of presenting a marketing message that is wrapped in an enticing narrative is referred to as storytelling in the world of content marketing. Such stories usually comprise a protagonist, based on your brand's target persona, a conflict or a problem they face, your target audience's pain points, and finally, the solution they discover, closely tied to your offerings/products, all of which are tied together with a narrative arc. But then, doesn't storytelling require your product/service to be interesting? No, you do not need a conventionally interesting product to leverage storytelling for your business. That's one common myth that keeps marketers from exploring storytelling for their marketing communication. All you need to do is to effectively craft a narrative around how the usage of your products or services can potentially positively impact the end users' lives. The nature of your business or the category of your products is completely irrelevant, and whether or not you are able to trigger a positive response from your audience depends entirely on how you tie together the three crucial elements of a story: the protagonist, the conflict, and the solution with your brand messaging, without simply relying on facts and product features to win over customers. Stories work not only because they are easier to retain than information or statistics, but research has proven that they also cause oxytocin release, which in turn affect consumers' attitudes, behaviors, and decisions. In fact, there is research that talks about how the auditory cortex of the brain activates upon engaging with a story. The same research also states that stories are easier to retain. The brain activity triggered by storytelling can last for days. So what makes up good storytelling? Feature a relatable protagonist. Your target audience is only going to relate to your story and find it relevant if, and only if, the central character is someone they can relate with. More importantly, they are only going to empathize with this character if they relate with them. If you cannot get them to empathize with this character, they are not going to be able to step in their shoes, and hence wouldn't care about your story. Your story is simply as good as the relatability of the protagonist. Therefore, make sure you spend enough time researching your ideal target persona, their likes, dislikes, motivations, aspirations, and pain points, so you can condense all the relevant attributes into your story's protagonist and create one that your target audience instantly connects with. Keep it real, keep it authentic. Fake it till you make it is probably the worst piece of advice anyone can give you when it comes to storytelling and content marketing. Being fake or unauthentic is absolutely not an option. The last thing you want is for your story to sound like an overtly fabricated and cliched narrative that readers can totally see through. So no matter how hard it seems at the beginning, make sure you use a fresh idea, a unique perspective to craft your own story that doesn't appear inspired by millions of others or even run off the mill. Use emotions to connect with your audience. Your story is absolutely futile if it doesn't evoke the intended emotions in the readers. This could be anything: fear, anger, joy, thrill, surprise, or any other emotion that either motivates, moves, or makes the reader feel something and connect with your brand. Emotions are what make your story real and humanly, so without them, your message would be just like another elevator pitch. Avoid digressing, stick to the point. Your story shouldn't be a huge fairy tale where readers have to wait for you to get to the point. In fact, storytelling and content marketing works only when the story you tell is succinct and absolutely to the point, without digressing even a bit. You want to keep your audience engrossed, not lose their attention. So keep the unnecessary details and boring plot points out of the way, and craft a story that simply grabs readers' attention, makes them feel something, and then leaves them thinking about it. In the end, you want readers to imagine themselves in the shoes of the protagonist and think about how using your products could actually turn their lives around, and not be left with a narrative that leaves them confused, bored, or unmoved. Throw some facts and figures to support your story. Well, this might sound counterintuitive, because this entire while, we've been talking about how storytelling has an edge over facts and figures in marketing. However, using storytelling to put your message across does not mean that you completely ignore hard facts. You cannot skip the research, and you do not need to let go of all that you've done before. Storytelling only means sharing that research with your target audience with a narrative, and not a bullet point list of facts that they can get on the internet. This makes your proposition far more compelling. Once you have crafted that story, don't shy away from using the data from your research to support or back your story to add to its credibility. Finally, a worthy cliffhanger. You don't want to give it all away. Instead, leave readers wanting more. Try not to have an explicit, definitive ending to your narrative, but leave it either open for interpretation or at a cliffhanger. This will intrigue the readers, leave them with something to think about, and slash or ensure they come back to find out more. Either way, you found yourself a genuinely interested potential buyer that you have a huge shot at converting. How can you make a good story for yourself? Get clarity on who you want to be perceived as. The first step to nailing the perfect story is what you want to be known as if your brand were to be personified. Do you want to be a friend to the reader who casually suggests what's best for them? Or do you want to sound more authoritative like a mentor and educate them? If you want to be the reader's friend, are you the kind who knows it all and people go to for advice, or the one who's just fun to hang out with? Once you have decided upon what your brand persona is, the tonality, lingo, attitude, and every other aspect of your story will be easier to zero in on, without which you cannot get started. Get to know your customers. Spend enough time researching your target audience. It wouldn't be wise to get started without all information on your prospects' interests, likes, motivations, aspirations, and other attributes, as you wouldn't be able to build a narrative that caters to their worldview. Get to know what they want to be perceived as among their peers, their day-to-day challenges and struggles, things, solutions they need, and so on. So whether you have a huge customer pool or just a few beta users, make sure you conduct enough interviews, run plenty of surveys, and do thorough secondary research to create the ideal prototypical customer profile. Once done, use all the information gathered to stitch together a story that aligns with your target audience's worldviews and interests. Set a goal for your story. You need to be clear about how you intend to conclude your story from the very beginning. Establish a clear CTA and ensure your story gradually leads to it. Do you want your readers to sign up for your services, or do you want to simply educate them? It's only when you have absolute clarity on what the end goal of your story is, can you create an impactful one. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks.